Hey guys, Mango Recaps here. Today, I am going to explain episode 2 and 3 of an American drama thriller television series, titled The Old Man. Spoilers ahead. Watch out and please take care. As a disclaimer, this video includes my own analysis, commentary, and it's not a substitute of the full movie. Click the link below to watch, buy or rent the movie. It begins by showing a flashback of Dan and Harold in the middle of the desert during Afghanistan-Soviet war. Surprisingly, Harold calls him Johnny instead of Dan. Why Harold is calling him Johnny? Dan is not happy with Harold and asks, "Did you bring them?" "No," replies Harold. It reveals that Dan was supposed to provide guns to Afghan rebels for fighting against the Afghani government, but now he couldn't provide weapons because Harold doesn't supply them as per the deal. Instead, Harold warns him about how the government will execute him if any of this transaction information becomes public. That night, Dan breaks into a garage, left his damaged car and picks up a new one, and heads toward Pennsylvania in his rented apartment. In the morning, he meets with a divorced woman named Zoe. She lives next door to Dan, and turns out that she is the ex-wife of the property owner. When they introduce themselves, Dan introduces him as Peter Caldwell. He does not want to reveal his true identity. When they are talking, both dogs comes out and sits like an obedient child. But the thing is, dogs are strictly prohibited on this property and Zoe is not happy with it. And she asks him to leave the house as soon as possible. Well boy, problems are ridings up. Before joining his FBI office, Harold visits his old mentor, Boat. He used to be the mentor of both Dan and Harold. He tells Boat that Faraz Hamzad is back and wonders why he is back. To which Boat says, "Does it matter?" Harold is not happy with the appearance of Faraz. For 30 years, nobody cares about him or what he wanted. But suddenly he appears asking for help settling some 30 years grudge. Also, Harold is not happy with somebody in the government becoming ready to provide it. Boat then says that he had warned them multiple times about linkage with Hamzad, and that things are now striking back. Before Harold leaves, Boat leaves a phone number on his desk for Harold. Until he picks up the number, he has a choice to use the number or not. If he uses the number to call it, and the government or the media finds it out, then he will be facing severe consequences. Obviously, the number on the desk is of Faraz Hamzad. After meeting with Boat, Harold directly goes to the FBI's office. The agents there are surprised to see him in the action, who was just retired from the job. He directly jumps into the works for what he is assigned. He orders Agent Angela to find Dan Chase's daughter. Meanwhile, Dan wakes up early and makes offers, where he makes breakfast for her, and if she likes it, then he can keep the dog with him, and if not then, he would leave the house. He served the breakfast, and fortunately, she loves and liked the breakfast. This grants him a quiet stay for a couple of months. The following day, Zoe knocks on the door and offers a dinner date. Dan still accepts her offer knowing that appearing in the public could put them in the danger. On the date, before they could talk about anything, they flash their medicine which they have carried with them to the dinner. Medicine sometimes can save you from an awkward situation, so guys carry it. It may rescue us from the silence. Just kidding, they both open up about their partners. Dan talks about his dead wife and how she died from Huntington's disease, while Zoe presents herself as a victim and her ex-husband as the bad guy. But later she opens up with the truth. She says, one day when she wakes up and looks in the mirror, she sees differently than the other days. She finds herself unhappy. She wants to live her life as she wanted and tells her husband about it. To which he agrees and tried, but her husband had enough of her and leave her. Back at the FBI office, Waters attempts to persuade Angela towards her and reveals how Hamzad is connected with Dan and Harold. When he made contacts, he finds that a man was working with Faraz Hamzad during the Soviet invasion. He also enlightens her by saying, "Then man was working with Faraz scares the living shit out of everyone over there. That man shot the rival warlord between the eyes at 1,100 yards, ultimately increasing the control of the rebel for Hamzad." According to him, this man would go raid on Russian units alone, which surprised him. Everyone in the Panjshir Valley people called this mysterious man Baba Korkor, a beast who eats everything. Waters has also figured out that Baba Korkor was ex-CIA agent, and also confirms that Baba Korkor is none other than Dan Chase. After listening to the story, Angela asks about the connection between Harold and Dan Chase. Waters says, Harold was the CIA's Islamabad station chief at the time and he believes that Harold was helping Dan by providing the intel and the weapons. It's now Langley versus Quantico. Afterward, Angela informs Harold that Dan's daughter died away before, and now they have to find another link to connect and catch Dan. In Pennsylvania, Dan and Zoe are returning home from dinner. They see police checking out the vehicle passing by. This frightens Dan. Officers ask them to get out of the car. Dan believes that his cover might be blown. He hides a knife and becomes ready to take action if the situation goes out of control. Zoe is having words with another policeman, but the more she talks, the more Dan becomes suspicious. He then kills the officers standing next to him, and with the gun, he shoots another policeman, and asks Zoe to get in, but she doesn't. With no options left, he shoots her and killed her. Fortunately, this was nightmare. Zoe asks him to get inside the car and both drive to the house. Zoe offers him coffee. First, he hesitates but ultimately agrees. They both have a romantic time. In his sleep, he again sees his dead wife. She says that she wants to see him with another partner. She warns him to tell the truth about his past, or she would walk up to Zoe's side of the bed to wake her. The following morning, when Dan is about to leave the place, he finds Zoe getting emotional. It turns out that her son was denied sitting in his organic chemistry exam because of check bouncing. Apparently, her ex-husband withdrew the amount to get out of paying alimony. Dan wants to help her with the tuition fees, but she turned him down and says she will handle the situation. To cheer her up, he makes her breakfast. This series introduces a serial killer named Julian Carson, who works in the direction of the FBI. He is waiting for the bus to catch. There he meets a disabled lady. He helps her to get onto the bus. His behavior is so helpful, and who can tell he is one of the dangerous men? He received the call from Harold and assigned him to look over Dan. Then the episode cut us back to a flashback to Afghanistan. The series introduced us to Faraz Hamzat for the first time. Faraz is relieved to find Dan there, but is suspicious too. Dan tells him that he probably will get the guns for him, which could be used to fight against the Soviets. He also explains that he will stand side by throughout the whole process and will provide everything the rebel needs. Faraz is quite impressed with the idea, but put Dan in a difficult situation by asking him to pass the test with his wife. In the present, Dan feels a connection with Zoe and wants to take her with him, but it turns out that the police had informed her about him the night before. And when Dan tells her about his past, and how the government is playing a political game with him, Zoe is not happy as he lies to her. She is not ready to go with him. Instead, she asks Dan to leave from there before she comes back, or she will call the police. Zoe is completely heartbroken and devastated after knowing the truth. She had trusted him and was feeling happy after a long time, but in vain. He then gives him a phone to talk with his daughter, Emily. She explained to Zoe about her childhood and how her father protected them. This episode also finally reveals Dan's daughter. Well, Emily is none other than Agent Angela. Still, Zoe feels betrayed and doesn't want to go with Dan. Zoe leaves from there but notices a gunshot from the windows. When she looks inside from the windows, she sees a man is trying to kill Dan. In the meantime, Zoe unleashed the dogs after seeing Dan struggling with that man. The dog saves him. Dan then quickly grabs the gun and shot him. I think he didn't get the chance to kill the man because he rushes to stop Zoe from leaving there. He wants her to go with him. FBI is looking for activity from the drone. Dan knows about it. He drives the car in the shades of trees and ultimately shoots the drone, completely blinding the FBI over his moves. In another flashback, Hamzat's wife Belaur is not ready to trust foreigners, especially Americans. Dan knows that he needs to convince Belaur how he is useful to them. Belaur asks Dan how he can be useful to them. To which he said, he has 4 cases of M21 snipper on the way, which he could shoot the target from 1,000 yards. This seems to impress her. Later he catches Belaur while drying the clothes. He says that he is different than others and trustworthy too. Belaur reveals why she doesn't trust Americans. According to her, when she was 7 years old, they were planning to move to the USA. Her parents were a professor and has secured a place at the university there. With the help of the American government, and a rebel coup, the Afghan government and all her dreams are shattered. Onwards, the Americans she knew were from the CIA. She realizes that Americans are of 2 kinds. 1, the kind who present themselves to be better and becomes ready to grasp anything to make it in their way, and 2 kind, the monster who is so determined to be right and believes there is no violence to be unjustified. And right now, she cannot figure out which of the 2 kinds is Dan. This means Dan hasn't passed the test yet. In the present, Dan drives his car and stops in unknown's location. He opens the trunk of the car and stares at it. Who is inside the trunk? Did he bring Zoe with him? Please let me know by commenting below. The episode ends here. Please, subscribe to watch more series recaps, turn on notifications, and leave a like and comment to support the channel.